My next guest, he is a professional mixed martial artist. He is a perfect professional mixed martial artist with a record of 5 wins and 0 defeats. Please welcome onto the show, Mr. Daniel Argueta. How you doing, Dan?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm in the middle of training camp. Just chugging along here, waiting for my next opportunity.
Awesome, awesome, man. And now, so for the audience that may not know who you are, Dan, could you just tell them real quick who does you are, what you do, and where you're training from?
So my name Dan Argueta. I'm known as the Determined in MMA. I train out of Jackson Wink in Albuquerque, New Mexico, by way of Orland Park, Illinois. I also train out of Orange County, California, with a couple of fighters that people are familiar with, such as Cub Swanson, Juan Archuleta, TJ Dillashaw. So I go back and forth, but this is my central camp. Um, you know, I, it's all in my bio. I eat, I train, I sleep. That's what my life revolves around. Um, yeah, I got lucky enough to be able to share my time between these two camps. My girlfriend is in dental school at USC, and I'm out here training right now. So it's a busy time of the year for us.
Oh man, I bet, especially with school going underway over there on her end, for sure, for
Oh yeah.
sure. So,
Sometimes I got to remember it's all not all about me. She's got something big going on.
oh, for sure, for sure. And so you travel out there. How often would you say you travel out there?
So originally it was supposed to be every 8 weeks,
Okay.
and then we were like, okay, let's do 6 weeks. 8 weeks is kind of long, to be
Yeah, for
away
sure. 2 months.
from either place. And then we said, okay, how about a month?
Yeah.
Now I'm crazy, man. I every 2 weeks,
Okay.
2 weeks there, 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there, 2 weeks here. And I had a conversation with the coach, and he was like, well, are you getting lazy after 2 weeks? I'm like, no, it's just the third week. I'm still doing all my training, but I'm like conked out. I'm here. I need to be here. I need a quick jump. So I throw myself into that next uncomfortable position. Oh, awesome! I'm doing good in training camp. Go to my other home. All right, pick up, put everything I learned to use. As soon as I get comfortable, all right, back to the other spot.
Okay.
And I'm hitting the corner in each of these places. So I'm running with it. It's working for me. The recipe has worked for fighters in the past, and I'm just gonna continue with it.
Yeah. So this is real interesting. So you're going from California to New Mexico, and for some of the audience that may not know, so you're training at Jackson Wink MMA. Again, killers, more killers, correct? More killers around
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my,
It's
crazy.
it's the only place to train. That's one of the things we obsess about at the gym. Where for me, when I am here, it's yeah, I have friends. My girlfriend's family is here, but it is training camp.
Okay.
If you look here, check this.
Okay.
If you look around, you see my gear,
Yeah.
my closet, a bed. That's everything to my name here.
And wow.
And
So
I'm in camp. This is it. This is my life. And when I'm in California, same lifestyle.
yeah.
Train all day, 2, 3 sessions a day. But I'm with some high level guys that they have their own fights coming on. They have families. These are some focused dudes at the top of the world.
For sure.
And
Absolutely.
when I'm there, I tell people, I'm like, yeah, if I ever win around, I don't expect to win one for a couple days. You
Oh
know,
man.
it keeps me on my toes. It forces me to evolve. As a person, as a fighter. Shoot, I see these guys as dads. Being able to take care of all of this. I see them as businessmen, and it's good for me to be around those people. And my girlfriend's out there, so it's almost like that's my home right now. And when I'm in New Mexico, this is my camp right now. It's a work trip. I have nothing to focus on except for that.
That's intense though. So even then, when you go to California, which you're calling home, there you're still training again with more killers, man. So it's definitely not even a break. I think it's fair to say that it's not even a break. I mean, I think like for you, I think it's all about going up and going up and going up and going up. I don't think it
Yeah,
doesn't sound like it's a break, Dan, especially with all those guys.
yeah. No, I don't think breaks are a thing. You know,
Okay.
I've been, I started wrestling when I was 8 years old.
Okay.
I've been in training camp for these opportunities since I was 8.
Okay. Interesting.
And I I guess the only break you can say about it is, my girlfriend's there, obviously, and that's a little bit. It's a piece of home. It's peaceful for me to know that, okay, she's here with me. I have my best friend with me all the time. When she's not in school and I'm not at training, and I'm with my best friend. And then when I'm at training and in between sessions, I'm with my mentor, Cub Swanson, and I'm constantly picking his brain and seeing how he did this game, and you know whenever he thinks, yeah, I could have done this better. Okay, remember that. I need to remember when that time comes that I have to make those decisions to benefit myself.
Sure.
These guys put so much time and effort into me that what's the point of me hanging around them if I'm not going to take what they have to say and apply it to my own life, my own career. Um, but when it comes to breaks, I'm in camp 365.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm that was one of the rules to moving out here, and I living up here in the cabin that one of Greg Jackson's friends, his one of his good friends, actually sponsored me with this, a home for me to live in when I'm out here. And I'm
Right.
actually sleeping at about 8,000 feet elevation every night,
Oh
and then I
man,
go down 4,000 feet and train.
that's
And
that's crazy.
yeah, the rule was
Definitely experience.
be ready to fight 24/7, 365, and I lived that. I just try to keep myself prepared, man. It feels pretty easy. There's nothing else I'd like to do. This is my addiction. This is what I like. I'm good at it. I feel like I do my best to bring the best out in people while doing it. I'm blessed to say the least.
For sure, for sure. So growing up for me, I had one of my friends would always tell me, be ready for special. Always be ready for special. Special things equal special opportunities that don't come often for people. Obviously,
Uh-huh.
question is how are you going to react when the opportunity comes? So I feel like that's something that's very in a sense very easy to translate when you're such a determined fighter and an athlete, especially in the fight game, because things happen. Injuries happen. Sometimes
Yeah,
you maybe call up to step up. That
yeah,
could be your opportunity. You know what I mean?
yeah. No, definitely.
So yeah, very interesting.
I had some exciting news. It's still in the works. We're still preparing for it,
Okay.
and I'm actually in the midst of making a drop to the next weight class down to
Okay.
bantamweight, 135 pounds.
Okay.
And so in November, I logged roughly 100 miles of running,
Okay.
and I lost a lot of weight. December rolls around, I come out to New Mexico to continue camp before Christmas, and I run into an injury.
Okay.
Now I'm out for 6 weeks, they're saying, and I'm just like, wow, that puts a that puts a pause in my regimen. All I was able to do with that was, okay, how do I take advantage of this opportunity? Spend time with family, watch film, rehab myself, realize, okay, this can happen in a worse scenario. I have to be ready for that mentally to be able to work through it and take care of that injury, and take my body seriously, listen to those injuries, relax, and really just take care of myself. Otherwise you make them worse. And these are things where it does create an opportunity, because now it's like, all right, I can learn from it or I can continue to harm myself.
Yeah, for
Now
sure.
I've learned, and like I said, today's Wednesday, it's my off day. I had to learn, after I've already had 9, 10 training sessions this week.
And it's Wednesday.
Yeah, it's Wednesday. This morning all I had was hard lift.
Oh my goodness. So that is very intense. It is a full-time job, especially not
Oh
just
yeah,
with training, with nutrition as well.
oh yeah, everything. It's I don't think. Well, one thing that I'll have to say is something like Instagram
Yeah.
is huge for fighters. We get to let the rest of the world peek in. They get to just look over the fence and just see like, oh, what are these guys up to?
For sure.
How many times you guys fight a year? Usually.
Uh, Usually let's say three on a, and that's an active year, I
Okay,
would say.
three.
I think three is
I
very
think the
active.
most, yeah, the most fights I've had in a year were four.
Okay, so that's
I had
really
four.
active.
Yeah, I had four, maybe five. Might have
Off.
five in a year in
So
365 days.
but you're okay. So your professional
My
record's
last amateur fight and
okay.
my
So
last amateur
amateur. Okay.
my last amateur fight and then four pro fights.
Oh my goodness gracious.
My last amateur fight to my first pro fight were like 3 or 4 months apart, not even.
That's, how many amateur fights did you get in before turning pro?
Five? I was 4-1.
Okay, 5-4-1. Okay, and then you made the jump, and I mean you're perfect right now, 5-0 on a
Yeah.
good. Just so the audience knows, you finished four out of your five fights.
Yep.
That's which is also impressive, and those four finishes came in the first round, correct?
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah, I did a little bit of homework here.
Yeah, no, you're right. A TKO and three rear naked chokes.
Finisher. So now,
Yep.
so Dan, for you, questions now. What made you get into MMA? What made you get into mixed martial arts?
One of my favorite questions because I don't think people would believe it.
Okay.
I was 11 years old.
Okay.
It was sixth grade, career day.
Okay.
And the teacher started asking people. It was either fifth or sixth grade. No, sixth grade, because that woman ended up becoming my teacher later on. They asked us, okay, what do you want to be? You have a week. Either create a PowerPoint, a brochure, a poster, whatever you want.
Okay.
And I'm thinking like a kid. I'm like, I know what I want to be. I like wrestling. I started watching MMA, recently. I started watching MMA when I was like 10, 9 or 10. And I'm like, you know what? I want to be a professional cage fighter one day. And I was 11, man. And I got the brochure, and on the front of the brochure, it's a UFC, and it had Greg Jackson's gym logo on it.
Oh way.
In the brochure, it said, fighters make roughly this much. I was wrong. It said, fighters put this much into their training. That was correct. The amount of work they had to do. I talked about George St. Pierre and him training at Jackson's, and how, one day I'd like to train under Greg Jackson, and this is something I want to do, and this is what you have to do. And I made brochures, gave them to everyone in my class,
Okay.
and people just looked at me like, okay,
Like that's
I want to be an
intense.
engineer. Yeah, they're like, I want to be an engineer. Like, I didn't, bro, I didn't even know what an engineer was.
Oh
I
yeah.
thought, in my head, I'm like, you want to work on a train? Like,
I want to
thinking
fight.
like yeah, thinking like, I thought an engineer was someone that was just working on a train. I didn't even know. I had,
Yeah, funny
kids in
funny
my
thing is,
class.
I'm like that too. I was like that too.
Yeah, I had kids in my class. You know, I think I was one of the only ones that said I want to be a professional athlete, and the rest of them, lawyers and nurses and doctors and engineers and teachers and veterinarians, dentists. I grew up in a really nice area, so all these kids, I'm sure a lot of them went on to do those things.
Yeah, for
Their
sure.
parents were working hard and possibly doing those things, and that's where I got really lucky. My parents gave me the freedom to, oh, you want to do that? Okay. If you're going to do that, you better try to be the best at it. You better do it with all your might. My dad was my age with 2 children, and he owned his own mechanic shop. He owned his own home. He was my age. He came from my dad came here from Guatemala when he was just a kid.
Okay.
To have his son grow up to fight in a cage, put me through school and everything to fight in a cage. And at first he wasn't on board. And then once he saw, okay, I have something. We don't know what it is. Some stuff that I can, yeah, there's something there. And I believed it. So now I'm like, you know what? Even me growing up, I remember seeing my dad, 40 years old, 41 years old, physically in his prime, at work at 6 a.m, didn't get home till 9 o'clock at night, running his mechanic shops, and just, being like, wow, thinking, oh man, all these kids get to hang out with their dads, and my dad's always working. But I didn't put together, wow, he did all that so that I can do whatever the heck I wanted in life.
Yeah.
And by doing so, I got some of his work ethic. That guy works so hard, man. I don't even come close to the amount of effort he puts in. I can only try. And I can only try until I can show him, hey, we're about the same, right? I work hard too.
Now, Dan, did you have so it's interesting that you say that, it was around 6th grade for me, around that time when I saw like UFC and I really fell in love with the sport. Did you have do you remember a fight specifically or a fighter that you just saw and you gravitated to and you're like, oh my God, that's what got you hooked into it? Or was it just more of the sport itself?
um, a little bit of both, because there was a fighter that I liked so much. I was just so angry that he was beating all the wrestlers.
Okay. So
Can
a
you
fighter that was
guess?
beating all the wrestlers. Well, can you give me the division?
What,
If you
what's,
give me the division, I think I can figure this out right now.
I think welter, right?
Welterweight. Okay, so a guy that's beating all the
Or
wrestlers.
lightweight.
Lightweight.
Oh, hold on. Let me see. I'm searching it right now.
Okay, this one right here. All right.
That's right. Two weights. Yeah, and I'm right on one of the weights.
Okay, so you went to welterweight and lightweight.
Welterweight and middle.
Okay, welterweight and middle. Welterweight and middle. Man, I'm trying to remember a guy, dominant guy, kept beating all these wrestlers. It wasn't George St. Pierre, was it? Was it George St. Pierre?
Mhm.
That guy was okay. So I remember that. So one guy that was annoying me though, that always won. That to me, in my opinion, I think it's real hard in MMA. I think we can both agree that it's hard to call somebody the goat. I think there's time periods where people were
Yeah.
at peak and their best during a certain
Time
time period.
periods, weight classes,
For sure,
gender.
it's very hard. So it's very hard to say one person's a goat. Like to me, somebody that I always felt like that was Anderson Silva. It always irritate me and my dad whenever we'd watch some UFC, and that guy was just he made it look so easy and we did do the Matrix, and it
You'd
was
want to see a wrestler get a hold of him, but
yeah
it
for
when
sure. I think the closest thing was Chael. So Chael gave him a run for his money,
yeah,
and I remember. So I was telling my dad like, "This is it. This is the fight, man. That's it. He's going down. That's it. It's over." And then, the last minute Anderson submits Chael within the last minute, and I couldn't believe what I just saw. So I can definitely relate that. So GSP, very interesting. So very dominant fighter, very very dominant fighter. So you saw him, and is that what hooked you into the sport?
I think it was a little bit more than that. Like I said, I fell in love with the sport because it was an outlet for wrestlers to go into
Yeah,
and make something of themselves.
for sure.
When I fell in love with GSP to be able, the way he was able to adapt to any fighter,
For sure.
but it was kind of like it burned that he was able to beat these wrestlers, and it's like, oh man, I wanted to see someone beat him. But at the same time, I can admire his love for martial arts. He's just an all-around martial artist. That guy doesn't miss a beat when it comes to training.
Yeah, very
Um,
very intense.
yeah, and I've met other people along the way like him. I think my heroes in this sport have definitely changed as time went on.
Okay, and now, so so it's real interesting. So GSP for sure absolutely goes there as one of the best to ever do it. For sure, one of the best to absolutely ever do it. And you know what I really liked about GSP was how he handled himself outside the
That was
cage
one
too.
of that was one of that's still one of my favorite things, and I pride myself on that. It's for me personally when I'm around fighters that don't hold themselves well, I'm just like, that's not me. That's not what my mom wants to see. That's not what my dad would want to see out of their son. To make it and just have a switch of heart. To be able to do that, or maybe if they even grew up like that. If they grew up like that, there's someone out there like me waiting to beat them up. There's karma around the corner, for a bully, and I don't mind being that guy.
For sure.
You
The
It's
karma, the karma in there.
yeah, yeah, I don't mind being that guy. It's one of the things I learned about this sport really early on was anyone could be a fighter, but to do it in sport professionally, it's gonna take some heart. And with that being said, to put heart into things and to be smart about it, it takes a good person, and it's gonna force you to become a good person. It's gonna force your character to grow. To how you're gonna hold yourself. How are you gonna if you have 5 rounds at practice and you get beat up rounds 1, 2, and 3? You're gonna quit round 4? Are you gonna cry round 4? Are you gonna be sad? Are you gonna mope? Or are you just gonna stick your nose to it, get up and go again until it's fixed?
I like that.
When you get done with practice, are you gonna go home and be all bugged that you had this, or are you gonna say, okay, that was behind me. What's the next best thing I can do? What else can I improve? It's done so much for me to personally grow my own character to feel better.
I like that. I like that. So now, is there somebody that's okay? So you've trained with a lot of fighters. I'm sure you've made some solid friendships and you have had good mentors in there. Is there? Can you name one person that's really that I guess that you gravitate well to? That's been with you step by step. Of course, again, you've been around a lot of fighters, and I'm sure there's tons of names. But what's the first name? Who's the first name that pops into your head when I ask you like who's been a real big of help for you, a big mentor in the sport right now?
My brother.
Okay. Is he a fighter?
No,
Okay.
never fought a day in his life, but he when I was around that age where I decided that man, this is something I like to do. My brother was the one to tell me, I think you could do that. I think you'd be good at that. You're mean, you're strong, you're tough. My brother's been beating me up since I was a little kid.
Okay.
He's 8 years older than me. He's like, yeah, you can do that. I'm like, that's dumb, man. I'm a wrestler. I'm not actually gonna ever do that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that dream until I was 24 years old, when a teacher messaged me on Facebook and told me, hey, do you remember career day?
No way.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so awesome, man.
my brother has been there every step of the way to make sure that I'm happy, healthy, safe. I'm doing the right things. He's my hero. He's my biggest fan. Me and my dad are, my dad and I are like, we're like best friends. We fight like best friends. We laugh like best friends. And I was lucky enough when my dad was so busy growing up, my brother was the one to take me to wrestling tournaments. My brother was the one to do all those things for me, to pick me up from practice, drop me off at practice, buy me, you would pick me up wrestling shoes with the money that he would get from work. You know, he would feed me all the right stuff I needed to go to a wrestling tournament. He was just the best big brother ever. He's just he's everything. He's one of the reasons that I continue to be like, you know what, this isn't good enough. My brother expects more of me. He sees who I train with. You know, he sees the work I put into it. And I got really lucky because then, you know, when I first left home to come do this, it was with like that second big brother that, you know, it was almost like, hey, my brother's at home. He's holding it down. He's with my mom. He's with my dad. Other than loving me and supporting me and just showing me that I can do it, there's nothing else that he can do, nothing else in his control. And for me to get sent, you know, to California and then meet Cub Swanson, who he became my brother away from my brother. When my brother wasn't there, when I'm away, this guy is the one that made sure, hey, you're doing this correctly. You're on top of your game. You're getting better. Hey, you're sucking at this. Hey, you can do better at this. Hey, why are you moping? Hey, wipe that face off. You know, hey, Cub, do I gotta come over and ride the bike? I don't know. You tell me. Oh shit. Okay. You know, it's like having that brother away from my brother. You know, I have the best of both worlds. I have the best big brother that I grew up with, and I possibly have one of the best big brothers in the sport of MMA, to be following in his footsteps in his career that he built for himself. And, you know, to be able to analyze the things he did correct, the things he says he could have done different, and analyze them and put them together.
Well, shout out to your brother and shout out to Cub Swanson, man.
Yeah,
Sound like great
my
individuals.
brothers, my brothers, you know, they're, without either of them, my life would have been way different,
Like that.
you know.
Now, let me ask you this, Dan. So, professional fighter, obviously, to the people that don't fight or that don't train to fight, it's a cool sport. You know, the people that really enjoy, like the casual fans, it's a cool sport. You know, go in there,
Yeah,
fight night. It's time to have some beers, light up the barbecue pit. You're watching the big fights. You know, it's a good time. It's a good time for you though, as a competitor, someone that partakes in fight night. Have you? Is it nerve wracking, or have you ever had like a family member, like as highly as you talk about your brother? Have you ever had a family member, friends in the audience for a professional fight of yours? Could you walk me, if you have, could you walk me through, like, is there like certain emotions that run through your head in a sense before you enter the
of
cage, or is that completely
course.
shut out?
No, 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 no.
Okay.
Of course. And I can give you two scenarios. I can give you pre-COVID and during COVID.
Okay.
So my every single one of my amateur fights, except for two of them, or no, one of them, no, except for two of them. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I can hear my girlfriend in the back
Okay.
saying, "Keep your hands up." While I'm in the cage, I'm like, "Oh shit!" I could hear her voice. That's
Okay.
one of them. And then my my second pro MMA fight, I got lucky enough to go fight in Chicago.
Okay.
So it was kind of weird how it happened. You know, I just finished up fighting in Fresno for my, no, it was my third MMA fight. Sorry, it was my second Combate Americas fight.
Okay.
My first MMA fight was LFA. So I just had my second pro fight in Fresno, and I'm leaving. I'm in California for a little bit longer, and I'm talking to Cub, and he's telling me, "Yeah, that'd be pretty cool if you can fight in Chicago, man." He was like, "I know it's hard being a traveling fighter to show these promotions. You can sell tickets and stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is, you know." And he was like, "That'd be pretty awesome." And I'm like, "Yeah." And then that's when he kind of said, He's like, yeah, we'll see how popular you really are, like in your hometown. See
Okay.
how many friends you could really get. And I was like, damn. I was like, ouch. And a couple weeks later, I'm like, I think 2.5, 3 weeks notice. Combates says, hey, we're willing to put a card on in Chicago if you want to fight in front of your hometown. And I'm like, let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah, there you go.
As soon as my mom found out, she said, nope, I'm going to Arizona. I'm going to go hang out with your grandma. She's like, I'm not going to be there for that. I can't. She's like, you'll kill me. And I'm like, okay.
Fair.
Mom won't be there.
Yeah,
And
I
then,
think that's fair. A little fair on that end.
yeah, no. I don't want to jeopardize her health.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
No mom wants to see her baby get
Yeah,
punched.
mom gets a pass.
Yeah. Um, I had my best friend back home. I'm telling him, hey, I'm going to fight in Chicago. He's like, oh, when? I said, the day after your wedding. He's like, what? I'm standing up in his wedding and we're doing all the wedding shenanigans. And I had to leave at like 10 o'clock at night and go cut weight, make weight the next morning, and then fight a day later.
Intense.
And at the wedding, he's like helping me, or before the wedding, he's helping me like sell tickets and stuff. And we sold over 100 tickets on a couple weeks notice. I think like,
Pretty good.
shoot, yeah, the high 100s on a couple days, a couple weeks.
Yeah,
And I was in
impressive.
camp. I spent a week in Albuquerque, a week in Milwaukee training at Rufus Sport, just because I was out there and I needed a central camp for the time being, because I was going to be there for my friend's wedding. Then that final week, I was like, okay, I could sell tickets now. I got a week. I left it all in my friend's hands, and now I have a week to figure it out. And my buddy told me, he's like, yeah, or Cub, he's the one that told me, yeah, it can be different, fighting in front of your friends. I'm used to being the bad guy. Everywhere I fight, I don't care about the fans, the crowd. I just walk in, do my thing.
And get out.
But this time, I look up, I see a section with all my friends from high school, college, growing up, people that I didn't even know, but I went to high school with. And then in another section, my brother and my dad and my in-laws. And I'm like, oh shit. And I walk up, I get into the cage. My girlfriend front row, all dressed up, the camera's on her, and I'm like, can't lose.
For sure.
I got I got too many people here watching. Out of all those friends and everyone, a quarter of them wouldn't mind me losing to see my dreams shut down. And I that's always in my head.
Man, that's a good way. Yeah, that's a very
I,
motivating way to think.
yeah, I ain't letting their thoughts shut my dream down. And to be able to do it in front of them, awesome. I love it. I love the opportunity. It's those fight nerves hit differently. It's very emotional. I every time I go in there and the cameras are on me, I just think, smile. Show them how much you love to be in there.
Okay.
Some fights, smile, yell. Show them how pissed off you are that guy had the nerve to weigh in, that guy had the nerve to stand in front of you in a cage. Show them how mad you are about that. Yeah, I respect him. But remember, either this guy is crazy or he's dumb for stepping in front of you. And it gets me. There's a bunch of different nerves that hit. It's like a roller coaster. And then me and one of my friends we said this. We think everyone needs to need like requirement. Every man has to go get an MMA fight.
Okay.
Just to
Yeah, I'm there.
you remember how I said the sport, it made me a good person?
Yeah, for sure.
Um, we were kind of saying like, if everyone got an MMA fight, they would really, you know, watch the way they speak to people. They would watch the way they treat people.
Okay.
And those people that I think treat everyone good, they believe in themselves, they're honest. Those are going to be your winners.
Okay.
Those people with good, strong character, hard workers. Those are going to be a lot of your winners in there. And they're nerves that I can't. They're hard to explain. Even when you talk about it, it's like people are like, I don't get it. Or like
No,
people that,
for sure.
yeah, people that wrestled their whole lives. They're like, oh, I'm just gonna go into this MMA fight. You do it in front of your friends and shit. You're like, oh man, my friends laughed at me for saying I want to be an MMA fighter. Now I got to do it in front of them. What the hell? You get, like you said, 3 fights in a year. You get 45 minutes out of the whole entire year to show the world what you've been doing. 45 minutes in a year.
And
I get 45. Dude, I take showers longer than 45 minutes.
no, and I can
you know.
definitely tell the audience. Spoiler alert: you won that fight. Spoiler. Oh man, good stuff. Good stuff. I love it. So
It's
it's. I'm sure you can't really put it into words, and for the audience that's listening through this at home, I mean, I've seen you smile as you talk about it. It's great, man.
I I love it. I worked, dude. I worked in an office, and I thought I liked it, but you know what I wasn't able to do? Train.
For sure.
And so I wasn't smiling like this. Now that I get to do something that I love, you know, I put in overtime hours by choice. I'm the luckiest dude out there, and not only me. There's plenty of other guys in my position that I'm sure feel this way, that can smile this way about what the sport's done for them. I think we all handle it differently. We all fight for different reasons, though. Definitely.
Now, as a fighter, Dan, what's something that you feel like separates you from the rest? What's that one thing that you feel makes you special?
My cause for doing this.
Okay.
A lot of guys, a lot of guys want that 15 minutes of fame.
TV
Or a
time.
lot of guys just want, huh?
TV time.
TV time? Yeah. Or a lot of them they want the girls. They want to be popular. They want to be liked. Those guys don't realize that someone like me, I'm building my career. Right now, I'm in graduate school. That's what I think of. I want to be a doctor in this shit stuff.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I'm in grad school right now. I don't want to. I want to do this until I'm at least 40.
Okay.
I want to be 40 years old, being able to compete at high levels. You know, a lot of guys want to call it quits by the time they're 31, 32, and I understand. That's
Yeah.
like that's the peak. You're the best. You're the youngest, and you're the best. Your body's performing. You can still beat up 20-year-olds. Now to do that at 40 and still little brother these young guys, the way that my training partners do, 37 years old, and they still beat me up like I never punched anything a day in my life.
Yeah.
You know, that's real. And I want to be like that.
Okay.
And I want to, not saying I want to one up it, but, when Cub and I talk about it, he's like, yeah, I think, maybe I'll go till I'm 40. I don't know. Maybe we'll see how things go. I'm like, well, if you do that, I'm going to have to go till I'm 41 then.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go one more. It's I think that cause is what I have over people, knowing that this isn't a game. It's not just a sport. It's not only a fight. It's a lifestyle.
It's your career.
This is my yeah, this is my profession. This is what I'm gonna be good at. Just like those guys that are at the highest level in the, in the military and the special forces. They're in that for 10 to 15 years, and that is their life. That is what they're about. That's what they're the best at. They take care of themselves to continue to be able to do it. And it takes care of them, their family, their legacy. They're warriors. That's what I consider myself. I'm a warrior. That's that's it. And the more I can tell myself, yeah, I'm a warrior. This is what I do. This would be my life. This would be my life until I can no longer go to battle.
For
You
sure,
know,
for sure.
until I can look back and say, okay, I did everything. I did everything even when I didn't want to do everything, and I just needed to do it for my own legacy, for my family. You know, my me and my girlfriend. It's almost like we're climbing a mountain together at times, and I don't know if every fighter has this, but you know, at a point, I got ahead of her in my career. I'm already a pro and everything, and she's trying to get into schools, and for a second, I have to like gather myself and be like, here, take the rope. We're gonna get up here together. We're coming up together. And then she's doing well in school, and COVID happens, but she's still, whatever she decides on doing, she's gonna be great at it. Fighting is a little bit different. Anything can happen.
For sure.
And for her to continue the school and do well, and then I'm like, oh man, like I just need to keep going. Then she throws down the rope and helps me up. It's gonna be that way till I decide I'm done. It's gonna be on me. And yeah, you take it one fight at a time, but at the same time, I'm looking at the long run, knowing that a loss can be the best thing to ever happen to you. It was for me as an amateur. It a win. Wins are good. It's money, it's revenue,
You're building
it's
yourself up in that sense.
yeah. But a loss will change your life, and you get to decide how you're going to change it. You want to mope? You want to cry? Or are you going to go watch the film, figure it out? And it's like I said, it's just that cause that I have over other fighters. They can be the meanest, toughest, smartest, most athletic guys, but if they don't realize that, hey man, you're taking something from me, or you're trying to take something from me that I'm trying to have until I'm 40. You're taking something from an old man right now. I think like an old man,
Yeah.
the way my dad thought when he was building his businesses. This is mine, and I'm here to stay. And to knock me off, you better be a bad dude. You better be ready to go, because I'll go out on my shield if I have to.
Nice, nice. Now, Dan, what's as we're shifting near the end of this, what's your goal for 2021?
If you had to guess, what would it be?
Okay, so I would guess to be as active in the fight game as possible. Get as many fights as you can. Am I correct?
Yeah, kind of. That's a
Okay.
part of it. Um, I told my dad when I started this about 4 years ago, when I first started training right after I got done wrestling in college. I told him, Pops, trust me. I'm almost positive I'll be good enough and my skills will be there that I think I can get into the big show by 27 years old.
Okay.
Turned 27 this year. COVID happened. Everything got slow. And I'm like, dang. And on my birthday, that's when a lot of people told me, they're like, you have 365 days of being 27. Don't worry about it. Just keep going. So now it's like, I, I, I'd want to, I'd want to have my foot in the door this year. I want to know that everything is working, that I'm in the right spot, in the right direction. If my foot's not in the door, that doesn't stop me. I'm going to keep going. I enjoy it too much. But I'll tell you this: a little bit more experience, and yeah, I'm right there.
Okay.
I'm right there. So that would be the goal this year.
So get
Big
into like
Show.
UFC, Bellator. Or what do you mean by big show?
Uh well, when I say Big Show, it's yeah, Bellator's Big Show, UFC's Big Show, one championship's a big show, but between me and my mentors and my manager, who actually he passed away about a month and a half ago.
Okay, sorry for your loss.
Yeah. Um, the plan was for me to be in the UFC.
Okay.
The plan was to get there. You know, and with that being said, it's becoming ongoing. Like lesson knowing that even if I get there, it could take 2 losses and I'm out. I can't.
Yeah.
3 losses in a row, you're done. I got there and I did that with it. And that's one of the reasons we're not in a big rush where I'm like, hey, I'm getting better. When I get there and I'll be there to stay. I got to them. I want to be in there for at least 11 years,
Okay.
12 years, 13 years. If I'm in there, before I'm 30, I'm there to stay. And that was our goal between, my manager and the mentors and I. It was be in the UFC and be there to stay.
Well, from talking to you, I can definitely say that there's no doubt in my mind that you're gonna get there
Yeah,
for
I,
sure.
I
For
sure hope so. There's a lot of me out there. There's tons of guys like me. I think the only thing that separates, like we said with the cause, the only thing that separates me is the the unknown, the future, what I want, what I see, what my friends have created for themselves. That's what separates me. These guys don't. A lot of them don't know what they want. Some of them do. A lot of them, they're just like I said. It's that 15 minutes. Me, I'm gonna be with a dentist for a long time. She knows what she wants. I
Yeah,
better make sure that I got what I wanted out of it before she's fixing my teeth for too long.
for sure, for sure. Dan, before we sign off, is there anything you want to let the audience know?
You know what? I think I said a lot.
Yeah, great
You
conversation, man.
know, thank you. No, it was fun. It's not much, man. I have something in the works. I can't really speak about it live.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
We can talk about it. Um, but other than that, hey man, just keep chasing your dreams. You got to work. It's whatever you do. It's got to be full time. For me, it's this. I do it full time. I work overtime, and everything I got goes into it.
All right.
It's whatever I decide to do after fighting. I promise you, I'm going to try to be one of the best at it, just like I did with this, because there's no other way of living.
And social media is Dan underscore the underscore determined, correct?
Yes.
I'm gonna have that linked in the description of this interview video below. Dan, thanks again for joining me, man. I appreciate it, man. Great time here.
Hey, it was fun. I love telling my story. I love being able to talk about my family, my friends, my upbringing, my crazy mind, my way of thinking. I like I told you, Instagram's a great tool. It lets the world look over the fence for a couple minutes and get to see something other than the 45 minutes a year.
Without a doubt. That was Daniel Argueta. Thanks for joining me, Dan, and for all the audience. Thank you for sticking around, listening to the interview. Once again, I appreciate you all. Have a good weekend, safe weekend. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.